Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our English 207 class. I am Michelle, your reporter for today. This video is one of the requirements of the subject entitled Cross-Cultural Competence in Communication under the supervision of Professor Annalisa T. Amada, Doctor of Philosophy. It should be apparent at this stage that a competent intercultural communicator is one who has an accurate image of his or her communication partner. In addition, he or she is able to regulate each message to the profile they have constructed of the other person. Part of the adjustment and adaptation process demands an understanding of how the other person perceives their surroundings and the people in those surroundings. Our next selection, titled The Social Construction of Demeanor Through Difference Rituals, contributes to that understanding by focusing on two fundamental communication variables. We have interaction rituals and demeanor. Both of these variables impact the communication setting and the participant. Justin Charlebois maintains that the manner in which people interact is not random, but rather subject to a series of patterned and learned rituals. These rituals stipulate to each person how they are to act and react in nearly all social settings, at business meetings, at parties, or at sporting events. As you would expect, when the participants share a common set of norms, social action progresses effortlessly. However, when these norms clash, communication is often marked by confusion and disagreement. Justin Charlebois suggested that when people come from different cultures and situational properties are not shared, it becomes more difficult to produce successful communication. Also, he examines two interconnected situational properties of social interaction and how they can impede intercultural communication. Specifically, he discusses how a speaker might show deference to others while concurrently manifesting appropriate demeanor. Proper and appropriate behavior express both verbal and non-verbal messages. As noted, situational proprieties are usually rooted in culture. Hence, as people move from culture to culture, they can unintentionally display a lack of respect for another person and thereby damage successful intercultural communication. The cultural basis of situational proprieties becomes strikingly apparent when we examine intercultural encounters. For example, the phrase, "I'll think about it," functions as a refusal in Japanese, while many North Americans may interpret this phrase as a potential acceptance. Irving Goffman maintains that there are certain rules of conduct or situational proprieties which constitute normative patterns of behavior in specific social situations. Rules of conduct include obligations, which refer to how an individual is expected to act toward others, and expectations, or how others are expected to act toward the individual. For example, a teacher is obligated to prepare for classes and expect students to complete the assigned task and submit on time. Expectations and obligations are so ingrained into the fiber of daily life that members of a particular culture are often unconscious of their existence. Difference is the appreciation an individual shows of another and illustrates an expectation. For example, an individual could pay difference to a peer by saying, "I like your dress." Compliments such this can serve as conversational starters, which build solidarity between speakers of similar social status, and difference can also be used to establish distance between individuals. Therefore, Irving Goffman classifies two specific forms of difference: avoidance rituals and presentational rituals. Avoidance rituals refer to forms of difference which lead the actor to keep at a distance from the recipient and address the recipient's need for privacy and separateness. Avoiding embarrassing topics, respecting personal privacy, and addressing someone by her or his title versus first name are examples of avoidance rituals. Next, presentational rituals are a form of difference which attempt to build solidarity and establish camaraderie with others and materialize as salutations, invitations, and compliments. In contrast to avoidance rituals, which honor an individual's desire for independence, presentational rituals attempt to address an individual's desire to be connected to others. Presentational rituals are often employed when interacting with someone of a similar age and social status. Further examples will better illustrate presentational rituals and presentational difference. For example, complimenting a friend's new dress or teammate's performance are examples of presentational rituals because they accentuate the acceptability and desirability of the person's behavior and accordingly build solidarity with other person. In addition to compliments, invitations, and greetings, trusting others' judgment can also be seen as presentational ritual. For example, you might elicit your friend's opinion prior to purchasing new clothes because you trust that person. Mutual trust is an example of a presentational ritual which is related to the importance of culture or group attaches to interdependence. Demeanor is an element of an individual's conduct which displays to others that the individual is a person of certain desirable or undesirable qualities. Demeanor is conveyed through aligning one's speech, behavior, and dress in accordance with social norms. In the United States, these norms could include dressing appropriately, expressing an opinion, and using interpersonal rituals to pay deference to others. So now, let us proceed to the final selection in this chapter that examines some intercultural problems that can occur even if people speak the same language. In an essay titled Discriminating Attitude Toward Speech, you will see how the words you use and how you express those words can be a type of discrimination. Aaron Castellan-Cargil is concerned with the way talk is employed as a means of singling people out and discriminating against them. As you might expect, such discrimination causes numerous intercultural difficulties. Cargil examines three major characteristics of speech: accents, vocabularies, and rates of speech, and how differences in these three qualities can influence interaction between people from dissimilar culture. For Cargil, some of that influence grows out of the fact that the recipients of those language differences often attach negative images to non-traditional variations in accents, vocabulary, and rates of speech. The false assumption is that these differences somehow make the speaker inferior. As a means of overcoming these harmful attitudes, Cargil concludes his essay with some advice on how to keep these negative perceptions from obstructing effective intercultural communication. The term intercultural communication typically invokes visions of people from two or more different nations interacting with one another. Intercultural communication also describes interactions between people from the same nation but from different co-cultures, as in the case of exchanges between many Asian Americans and African Americans. It must be realized that even when people speak the same language, such as English, they don't always speak the same language. Research has shown that listeners make ready of regular judgments regarding the personal and social characteristics of speakers based simply on the way they sound. What should be done about our discriminating attitudes? Whether we like it or not, and whether we admit it or not, we all possess discriminating attitudes towards speech. Before I end my report, I want to leave this one of the famous sayings of Nelson Mandela that says, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart." Thank you for watching and keep safe, everyone.